Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our financial literacy workshop on your spending and saving plan. My name is Samantha Harris. I am the Director of Programs with Hire. At Hire, our mission is to maximize the skills and opportunities for formerly incarcerated and system-involved youth and adults here in Orange County. And we do that through community building, mentorship, and employment. We will have monthly workshops here starting in January. Our next meeting will be on January 21st, so you can keep an eye out for that. I'd like to now introduce our two presenters from Banc of California, Jamie King and Alex White.
Hello. Hi. Okay, I'm going to start and go through some slides with everyone, and then I'm going to pass on to Alex. Feel free to ask any questions in the chat or jump in at any time. First question, actually, we didn't tell you guys this was going to be a quiz, but there is a question for you. How many of you have thought of creating a spending or savings account? You can put your answers in the chat. I know some of us, it's a natural thing. Some of us, it may not be. Some of us were told we had no choice by our parents, and others fell into it when creating a checking account, right? So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is this. So if you haven't thought of it, we're going to explain to you why we think it's a good idea that you do. Okay, first, I want to share actually. Alex, can you share the guide? I didn't do that early on in the chat because I am going to refer to some of where I'm at on the pages.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. So on page 3 of your participant guide, that's where I'm starting here. So we will discuss how to create a spending and savings plan, and then we'll talk about ways to increase income and decrease expenses. A spending and savings plan helps you compare your income and expenses, understand where your money is going, and make adjustments to guide how you use your money so you can meet your goals. Some people may call this a budget. That's what I call it, the dreaded word budget. We are going to use the phrase spending and savings plan. So it's clear we're planning for how we spend our money and also how we save our money. Spending and savings plans bring together two money topics: income and expenses. Money you receive, which could be earned income, income from assets and investments, public benefits or entitlements that pay money, other benefits or entitlements that primarily offer benefits other than money, or other income such as gifts, child support, alimony. I think taxes is one, refunds, which we all hope we get every year. Expenses are how you use your income: savings, sharing, and spending. Thinking about your income and expenses can be stressful. I know it stresses me out, especially if you are worried about making ends meet. We're going to talk about and practice putting information and income and expenses into an overall monthly plan. That process will empower you to make choices and make changes if needed. In the long run, that can help reduce stress about money. Okay, so if you have the guide, you'd see this picture on page 4. And can follow from there. So materials provided in that participation guide, or these materials be provided in that participation guide, excuse me. We just want to let you know that there's a form in there that we're going to walk you through that you can fill out for a better understanding of how you're spending and saving. So look at your bank statements. Those may be a good place for you to start. Okay. So on page 5 of that guide, the first part focuses on your net income. Net income is your income after taxes and other deductions. Using net income means we don't include taxes as an expense. The second part will focus on your expenses. And the third part is a comparison of your total net income and your total expenses to see if they are aligned. So first, complete your past monthly amount column to record your net income and your expenses based on past months. This will be the most accurate if you have records reflecting at least 1 month of income and expenses. Next, complete the planned monthly amount column. It includes a space for you to write which month you are planning. Fill in your income and expenses using the past monthly amount column as a reminder of your recent income and expenses. One thing to note is that you should probably not copy those amounts, because you want to think about whether you need money to make, whether you need to make any adjustments to your income or expenses from last month. For example, you may want to put more money into your emergency fund. You may be able to cut back on spending in your groceries and household supplies. There may be subscriptions that are due or registration, things that you need to consider. And then finally, you can use that spreadsheet to compare your total net income and your total expenses. This will help you see if your income covers your expenses. If not, you want to look at ways to adjust your income and your expenses. Okay. When you compare your total net income and your total expenses, you'll have 3 possible outcomes. If the difference you calculate in the comparison of my total net income and my total expenses section is 0, your income is the same as your expenses. You should have just enough to cover those expenses. A positive number, you have more income than expenses. You should have enough income to cover your expenses and some left over. This is what everybody wants. And then a negative number, you have more expenses than income. You would likely not have enough income to cover your expenses. You'll need to increase your income, decrease those expenses, or incur debt to make it possible to pay. You can create your own spending and savings plan using this and apply it after today's training. It's in the guide beginning on page 4. Use it to determine if you need to adjust your income and or expenses to better meet your financial goal. Okay, so some ideas. This is on page 13 or starts on page 13 of your guide. Some ideas for you to manage your expenses is a daily idea is recording your savings, sharing, and spending. Saving your receipts is a good first step. In addition to using receipts to track your uses of income, you can use them to check debit and credit card statements. I do this to make sure I'm being charged correctly. If I give a tip, I want to make sure that they charged me only what I gave them for the tip, or if I think I've been double billed, I'll use those as comparisons. There are also a number of apps and websites that can help you track. I personally use Monarch. It's on my phone. It tells me everything that's coming in, everything that's going out. It alerts me. So there's phone apps, computer apps. And then an idea for savings is collecting your change. You can drop your spare change into a jar. This is just an idea that we're recommending. This can help you build savings and keep your pockets or purse free of loose change. Weekly ideas are putting limits on spending using the envelope system. I love this idea. Label envelopes for categories of spendings that you want to limit, such as groceries, household supplies, and eating out or takeout. Using your savings and spending plan, estimate how much you will need for each category of the week. Put those amounts in your envelopes at the beginning of each week. Use only what is in the envelopes for your spending. When the cash is in the envelope runs out, wait until next week allotment of cash before spending any more. And it also will quickly show you if you're going over. If you have cash left over in the envelopes at the end of the week, consider putting it into a savings account. Okay, so on monthly ideas is on page 15 of your participation guide. So conducting a monthly review. Review records of your spending for the past month using an app, receipts, or your own logs. Like I said, I use an app called Monarch. There's lots of apps out there. Compare how your spending and savings plan did and did not reflect what you actually spent. Reflect on what you want to do differently next month and create a spending and savings plan for next month that is realistic and aligns with how you want to use your money. Having a monthly goal setting session. This is a good one. I do this in my home. Have each family member or household member write one or more goals for their spending and savings in the coming months, or if you're a family and you share expenses, one savings goal for everybody. Be sure to also review progress towards the previous month's goals so you don't forget anything. And then celebrate successes, right? So this is an idea here for you at the end of each month to think about what your successes throughout the month. There are many ways to celebrate. One is you could declare a family or household member to be the money manager. Older children might really like this. And based on their success, if they were able to stay within their budget. I think that's a great idea for older kids. I'm not sure us adults will like to be the one in charge of the budget. And then preparing for taxes. At the end of the month, identify expenses that may be important for tax time. Make sure to save the evidence of these expenses, such as receipts, invoices, or screenshots of online payments. Okay. This is on page 16 of your participation guide if you're following through on the guide. Ways to increase income or decrease expenses. You may be able to increase your income, which will help you cover your expenses, or increase the amount of money you can save or share. Some activities may provide more income once or occasionally, such as selling items at garage sales. Some activities may provide more income on an ongoing basis, such as taking on a part-time job or second job. Some activities may be long-term. You may have to devote some time before the strategy will generate income, such as participating in local workforce development programs, training programs. It may help you develop skills to fill, higher demand jobs or increase your income over the long term, or receive promotions where your income would be increased. And then some ideas for decreasing expenses. To decrease, you may need to think carefully about your needs versus your wants. I do this on the daily. Needs are things you must have to live, and wants are things you desire and can actually live without. Excuse me. Obligations are debts you owe because you borrowed money, such as a car loan or mortgage, made another type of agreement to pay them, such as for rent, or were ordered to make the payment, such as child support. And then some ideas for you when considering wants versus needs. Sometimes with wants, we want it and we're not always looking at what it takes to get it. Some recommendations are to compare prices before buying, especially for costly items like cars or large appliances. Coupons or sales may not save you as much money as you might expect. For example, they won't save you money if they lead you to purchase more costly brands or items you don't normally buy, or to avoid shopping around because you think you're getting a discount. However, if something you regularly buy is on sale and truly costs less than what you normally pay, consider buying more than you usually buy. But only do that if you have space to store the extra amount and it will not spoil before you can use it. I do that sometimes. And make shopping lists to avoid impulse buying. Buy only what you need and not what you want. I use an example when I get a coupon from a retail store and they're like, here's free $25, right? It's like, yeah, but do I really need to shop just to save the $25, just to get my $25 coupon used? And often I say I do when I don't. Okay, savings. I'm going to start this section and then pass it on to you, Alex. What is savings? Savings means setting aside a portion of any money you earn or receive. This includes income, gifts, or tax refunds. If anybody's getting tax refunds, let me know because I'm doing something wrong. I'll never get a tax refund. It does not have to be a large portion. Regularly saving money, even small amounts, can add up over time, like throwing your change in a jar. Savings does not mean you neglect to pay your rent or other obligations. You definitely want to make sure to pay those before you consider it savings. An example is if you buy a coat marked down from 60 to 40, it may seem like you saved 20, but if you aren't putting that 20 into your savings, and it's not technically savings, you're spending 40 on a coat and it ends there. Okay. And where to build and store your savings. Here are some options. I'm sorry. Why save? Why save? I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead a slide. To complete goals you have, maybe to buy that home or to, I don't know, get that new hairstyle you want. To build wealth. For emergencies, times of less income or more expenses. We're living in very precarious times right now, and that's a good example of a reason we should save money. A peace of mind, so you feel secure. Losing a job. Other reasons. I have one in particular. I have a very sick mom and sister, and they are financially able to take care of themselves. But if one day they're not, I save to be able to take care of them when they're not able to take care of themselves. So that's one example I can use. Okay, where to build and store your savings? Your home. A savings account, money market deposit account, certificate of deposit, which are called CDs, U.S. savings bonds, excuse me. Retirement accounts from your employer. Sometimes you have to wait a little while when you get hired, but often larger companies will offer you like a 401k or IRA retirement account options. And investments such as stocks, corporate bonds, and mutual funds, and rotating savings and credit associations. Okay. Advantages of saving in your home. I thought this was funny. No fees, no rules, no additional costs to maintain. It's convenient and easy to access. But as I was going through that, I started cringing a little bit because it can be lost or stolen, can be destroyed in the fire, flood, or disaster, and easy to access for people we don't want to access, right? So it needs to be stored very carefully in your home. Now, types of savings accounts. Savings accounts. Deposit. The advantages of putting it in a savings account. Deposits in federally insured financial institutions are insured up to $250,000. That is good to have if something happens. If your home burns down and you have $250,000, there's nobody to pay you that back. But if the bank burns down, you still get up to $250,000. You may be able to directly deposit your wages into your savings account or a portion of your wages. You may be able to automatically move money from checking to savings. It could earn interest. It'll be easy to access, and it establishes a banking relationship, which is really important if you're considering loans in the future for cars or homes or large purchases. However, the disadvantages are there could be recurring fees, but I want to say most institutions will waive those if you have direct deposit from your companies, or most banks will. Not always the best option for saving money for long-term goals because the interest you earn may be lower in a savings account. A financial institution may not be available, or you may not have access to online banking or want to use it. And it may come with a limited number of withdrawals. I know I had a savings account in the past that was like 5 was the limit, and then after that they start charging you, or they lock you out. I think that bank locked you out after 5. So if you're frequently moving money back and forth, you may want to consider a different option. Okay. So this is the type of savings account is where I pass it off to Alex.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you for walking us all through that. Very interesting stuff. So what have we got here? Types of savings account. What does it say here? As of April 2025, the average savings account interest rate is 0.4% APY. So yeah, that's not very high right now. At the moment, interest rates are pretty low compared to where they've been maybe historically. So savings account, you're not going to currently earn a very healthy interest rate, but that can change over time. We also have things called high yield savings accounts, as the name suggests. They offer higher yields, so they can give you a higher APY, currently in the range of 3 to 5%. And what does it say here? Many online banks and credit unions specifically provide rates around 4%. Yeah, so okay, 4% is in the middle of 3 to 5%. So yes, if you look for those high yield savings accounts, you can get something a bit more healthy. They probably tend to. Jamie was just talking about this restrictions or limitations on how easily you can access your money if you do that. So there will be always a quid pro quo to that. So if you want those higher rates, there might be more limitations on how easy it is to access those funds at short notice and make withdrawals and things. Do your research and explore savings accounts options that best suit your financial goals. That makes sense. So if you're going to buy a new car, you'd go online and look for the best car that suits you. Similarly, if you're going to go for a savings account, look around, go online, look at different options and figure out what's the best rate for you and what's the best in terms of its flexibility and your ability to access those funds if you were to need them. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay. Deposit insurance. Oh yes, this FDIC $250,000, $250,000 insurance. Jamie touched on this slightly earlier. What does that mean? Well, it basically means if you put your money with a bank and something bad happens to that bank, whether it gets collapses or something like that, not physically collapses, but financially collapses, you are insured by the government, by the FDIC, for your funds, as long as they are less than $250,000. So that means there is some insurance there is some safety to you saving your funds within a bank rather than keeping them under your mattress, which isn't necessarily a good idea. So let's go to slide 18, please. Okay, thank you. Interest and compounding. Okay, so whenever you think about savings accounts or putting your money somewhere with interest, we have this idea of interest and compounding. What does that mean? Well, it means that banks or financial institutions will pay you to give them your money. And it means they will pay you a small interest on that amount of money. And the really cool thing is that not only will they pay the interest on the original amount, they'll pay you interest on the interest. So it can have this idea of compounding where it can build and build and build quite nicely over time if the rate is quite nice and also if you give it enough time. So it's about the interest rate and the time that you leave your funds inside the bank while it's earning interest. Annual percentage yield. This is just a way that's used to measure the amount of interest you get on a yearly basis. What does it say here? Different from interest rates, including the effect of compounding. Yeah, so okay, this is a way of measuring the amount of money you get back over a year when you factor in this compounding effect of the interest as it builds and builds and builds and builds over time. So those are good ways to compare different savings accounts based on the APYs. Annual percentage yield that are offered across different products across different banks. Let's go to slide 19. Oh, some maths, excellent. Mattress versus bank account. So, okay, we talked about the different ways you can save money. One of them is you could stick them under your mattress. You might get a lumpy mattress if you do that. But what happens if you do that? Well, you get no interest. Well, that sucks. And you have to hope that it's not going to get stolen or lost, right? So let's say you put $1,000 under your mattress, right? After 5 years, it's still $1,000, right? It hasn't done anything for you. It hasn't earned any interest. And as long as no one's stolen it, you've still got $1,000. And after 10 years, guess what? It's still $1,000. It hasn't really done anything, right? So, you know, is that a good use of your money? Probably not. Or you could stick it in a bank account, right? Where you're going to earn some interest on a monthly basis. So here, let's assume you earn 2% interest compounded monthly. And so I put that same $1,000 on day one in the account rather than under my mattress. And after 5 years, now I've got just over $1,100. Hey, that's quite nice. I didn't have to do anything for that. I just had to stick it in the account. And then after another 5 years, so up to 10 years, and now I've got just over $1,200. Again, versus $1,000, which would have just remained flat and static under your mattress. I think I'd rather just stick the money in the account and earn some interest if I was given the choice. Interest combines with regular savings of $50 a month. Okay, so the first example we just gave was, let's just stick $1,000 in somewhere under the mattress or an account and then just leave it, right? Here we're saying, let's add, are we saying add, let's add $50 a month under your mattress, no interest. Oh, okay. So what are we doing here? Oh no, this is saying, okay, we're going to save, is it $5 per month over 12 months? Okay, right. Okay, so let's say I put $5 away every month for a year, and I'm going to put it under my mattress. So after a year, I've only got $60. Whereas if I put that money in my bank account at 2% interest rate, I would have a little bit more than $60, right? This 2%, not very much, but I'd have an extra 55 cents, which I can spend on, I don't know, whatever I want to spend it on. But then after 5 years, if I continue to do that pattern where I'm saving $5 a month, I would then have $300 under my mattress. But likewise, if I'd been doing that into my bank account, I'd now have $315. Okay, that's going up quite a bit now. Now it's starting to make a difference. Now, again, after 10 years, I'd have $600 under my mattress versus $663 and some cents in my bank account. Now the bank account is starting to really run away here and become the winner. And then in the long run, after 30 years, if I've been doing this $5 a month every month over 30 years, I'd have $1,800 under my mattress versus $2,400 in my bank account, which is roughly 1.5 times. Is it 1.5 times? A little bit less than 1.5 times what I put away under my mattress. So I think the winning formula here is, if you're putting money away every month, stick it in a bank account, earn some interest. That interest compounds over many months, over many years, and you end up with a nice fat stack of cash that you can play around with later on. Okay, retirement accounts. Okay, so we talked about savings. You can stick them in a bank account. Another way of thinking about saving is really saving for the longer rate. This is for retirement, right? So maybe we're talking 30, 40, 50, 60, or maybe not 60 years down the road. So we're thinking longer term, and there are various different products that can be used for savings for retirement. We've got traditional IRAs, individual retirement account, and there's various features to do with that. Contributions may be tax deductible. Taxes are paid upon withdrawal during retirement. So, okay, there are various different things you need to be aware of. But you've got an IRA, you've got a Roth IRA. This is now made with after-tax income and various other little different features. 401k, that's the one I'm aware of. So this is offered by your employers, and sometimes they match your contributions, which is very nice, which is basically free money, which, you know, everyone quite likes free money. And so you make contributions pre-tax from your income, and then you make lots of contributions over many years, and then hopefully you retire with a nice little nest egg that you can relax on and drink margaritas or something. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Buy that boat. Saving for your goals. Oh yes, okay, cool. Yeah, let's get into this. What are your goals? Smart goals. Okay, Oh yeah, look what they did. They came up with this word smart. Specific. Okay, so think about exactly what you want to buy, what your goal is. Okay, I want to buy that house. All right. So I'm pretty specific about what I'm trying to accomplish. Measurable. All right. So there's probably a dollar value associated with that. So okay, how much or how many, let's say how I don't well, I'd like to buy many homes, but that's not going to happen. How much? Okay, I want to buy one home for I don't know, $800,000 if you're lucky. But there's a dollar amount associated with that. So I want to buy a house for a certain dollar amount, action oriented, action orientated. What specific actions do you need to complete to meet this goal? Okay, so you're thinking active, you've got there's an actionable thing here where you're thinking, okay, I want to achieve this goal. I need to think about putting money aside and being proactive and being disciplined about doing that. So being specific about what those actions are and how you're going to achieve it is an important thing to bear in mind. Reachable. Is this goal something I can reach? Well, that's true. Yeah. If you want to buy I don't know, a Learjet, a private jet, you might need to, that may well be, I'd like to have one of those, but it's not going to happen. So you have to be realistic. Is it reachable? Is it attainable? So always, try and keep your feet on the ground and think about things that are actually attainable and are reasonable to achieve. Time bound, when will I reach this goal? What's the deadline? Yeah, okay. So is it something that's going to take 5 years or 10 years? You have to bear that in mind. And also that also comes back to this idea of earning interest and compounding stuff on your savings. The longer you make savings for, the longer it gives your money a chance to grow and compound. And hopefully that fits in with the time deadline you're thinking about buying that private jet for. All right, what's the next one? How much money should you save for your goals? Okay. Yes. Okay. So what are you saving for? We already talked about this. I'm going to buy that house, buy that jet. How much will it cost? Well, let's just think about the house. Let's say it's going to cost me 800,000 or 500,000. That's a nice round number. How much of that cost do you need to save? Well, at the moment, how much of that cost do you need to save? Well, all of it at the moment. I haven't got anything in my bank, so I need to save for all of it. What is your deadline? Oh, okay. So let's say I want to achieve it in 10 years. So then I have to think about how am I going to earn 500,000 over 10 years? I can sort of break it down on a weekly basis. So for example here, emergency saving fund. Okay, so $1,000. I want to get $1,000 in 2 years. So I can think, well, let's think about it in terms of the number of weeks. So there's approximately 50 weeks in a year. It's about 52 weeks, but okay, let's call it 50. So 50 weeks times 2 years is 100 weeks. So if I do 1,000 divided by 100 weeks, that gives me $10 a week. So I've got to put away $10 per week for 2 years. And after 2 years, I'll have just over $1,000, which would be nice because that's what I'm trying to aim for my savings fund. So this is sort of the maths that goes behind some of this stuff. What's the next one? Key takeaways. Okay, so I think we're at the end here. Okay, so what are the key takeaways from all of this stuff? So having a spending and savings plan. Yes, it's always good to have a plan. If you don't plan for things, you're never going to do it. So you've got to take action, plan ahead, think about how you're going to balance your spending with your income and your savings as well. How much can you put aside on a weekly basis or a monthly basis to achieve your goals? Calculate your income versus your expenses. Yes. So, okay, hopefully your income is more than your expenses. If it's the other way around, then something's probably not going quite right. But if you've got a nice, reasonable gap between your income and your expenses, that means you've got perhaps room to make some savings. Little amounts over a long period of time add up and will buy you that jet eventually down the road. Increase your income and decrease your spending. Yes. So if you're slightly out of whack and your expenses are much higher than your income, something's got to change. So either you've got to increase your income, which we all like to do, or decrease your spending, which also we'd all like to do. So then it brings that equation the right way around. And so then hopefully you've got a bit extra left over at the end of the month that you can put into those savings we talked about. Make smart choices and find alternatives. Yes. Okay. So if you've got to go and, certainly for larger goods, if you've got to go and buy a new washing machine or whatever, don't buy the first washing machine you find. Shop around a little bit, see if there are any deals. see if there's, see if you can, not pay, I don't know, that large price tag. Maybe you can get 10% off somewhere, or so those little amounts will all add up, and you can save those amounts at the end of the day when it's all left over. Oh, save, there we go, like we just said. So yeah, savings, find a safe place to store your savings. If you can avoid it, don't put it under your mattress. As we've said, it's not a good, it might be nice to know where it is under your mattress, but really it's not the safest place for you. Put it in a bank is one alternative. As we said, if you look for good offers around, you can earn some reasonably good interest, and as I say, that compounds over a long period of time, and hopefully at the end of the day, when all's said and done, you'll have a nice little stack of dollar bills that you can use for whatever means you want to use them for. Create your SMART goals. Yes, we talked about what SMART was a second ago. So if you need to go back, you can go back and check what those are. Budget. Ah, yes, budget. So again, that's about controlling your expenses, making sure you don't spend on frivolous and unnecessary items. Only really what you need. Try and keep the spending under control. What's next? Is that the end of it? Maybe it is. Oh, questions. Do we have any questions from the floor?
We did receive some questions, and I've tried to get some responses on those. So I will just walk through them. One of the questions that came in is, what strategies do we recommend for people whose income fluctuates week to week? And some ideas are to keep a basic list of bills with due dates. Pay the most important first, like rent, utilities, and food. Use the bare minimum budget, so you figure out the smallest amount you need to cover your essentials each week. And then save a little when you can. Like Alex said, even 5 or 10 from a good week helps build a cushion for those weeks that you can't save. Another question that came in is, how should clients prioritize savings versus paying down debt when their budget is extremely tight? Again, cover essentials first. Make sure your rent, food, and utilities are paid. Pay at least your minimum debts to avoid late fees. Nobody wants their credit score to drop, so always try to pay the minimum. And then start again a tiny savings. Even a few dollars in a jar or envelope counts. It's about building the habit and slowly watching it grow. Okay, and another question is, any tips for clients who share rent or expenses with others, but deal with inconsistent contributions? This is a tough one. Write down who owes what, keep it simple, and their name and amount. That's simple. It does not need to be detailed of who owes what. Just come up with that information and come up with that detail, and just so-and-so owes this. Set clear dates for the payments, reminders around the house, agree on when money should be sent. And then have a backup plan. If someone is late, know what you are going to need to cover what, and what can wait, what can't wait. Okay. One more question was, are there simple tools clients can use to track expenses if they don't have regular computer access? Yeah, notebook or calendar. Write down what you spend each day, wall calendar, fridge calendar, desk calendar. They have electronic calendars now at Costco, but they're real big and bulky and expensive. But yeah, if you don't have access to like a computer or your mobile device, then that's an option. But also, I think pretty much everybody has a mobile device. You can do it right on your phone. That's what I do. I don't use a computer. I only use my mobile device. It was a free app. And that was the next response, is try the free phone apps. Apps like Mint or Good Budget work on most smartphones. Those are the two apps they recommend. I use Monarch. And then again, the envelope method. I love this. It's very interesting. Put cash for each expense in separate envelopes. When it's gone, stop spending. Okay. And then the last question is, unless we have more in the chat, I don't see anything. What's a realistic way to build an emergency fund when someone is starting at zero and living month to month? Start small. $1 or $5 at a time. Alex mentioned this. $1 or $5 can grow. A dollar can grow 50 cents after a short period of time in a savings account. And you could double your dollar. And $1 doesn't seem like a lot, but when you are slowly putting $1, it's turning into 2. It's turning into 10. It's turning into 30. Your tire pops. You have $300 in savings to use as an emergency after a little while. Pick one spot for your savings, a jar, envelope, or a separate account so it's not all over the place. And so you can see it grow. That's motivating as well. And then make it automatic if possible. This is a big one. It's something that I did for my kids. Have an automatic deduction from their check into their savings account. Direct deposit. If you get a direct deposit payment, send a few dollars to savings each time. Put a reminder on your phone if you don't get direct deposit to remind yourself to do a transfer or to walk into the bank and put something in your savings after each check. And those are all the questions, Samantha.
Sorry, I was still on mute. Yeah, I don't think we have any other questions. So
Yeah,
thank you so much.
we are
Thank you.
available. Yeah, if you need anything, thank you so much for letting us do this.
Thank you.